Alright, so this is video number 2 on week 5, mastering volumes in trading with Urban Forex. Okay, so we are now going to discuss in this video purpose. Okay, I'm not talking about, okay, what is the purpose of life and stuff like that. What I'm talking about in this one is when you have a high volume break, you need purpose. Okay, so let's get into that little by little. We're going to divide it up into a few sections of that, right? The first section is I'm going to talk about is the news. Okay, now what type of news am I particularly interested in? I made you look at the news in week 1. I made you keep track of it, right? And then I didn't talk about it until now, okay? Because now it's where it comes into handy. Okay, so the news, I'm interested in seeing the economic calendar. I'm not interested in understanding what it means and all that stuff. I am interested in seeing what shows up on the economic calendar. Okay? So if there is an economic calendar saying there are some sales reports coming in, or there is some GDP numbers, or there are some NFP numbers, or interest rate decisions and stuff like that, these things that come out so frequently, so regularly, then I am interested in seeing, do I have purpose on my high volume pops? So for example, let's take a look at this thing here. So you can see this little range here, right? Okay. Now this little range, as it was developing, gets a high volume pop. Now the high volume pop can be from one of many reasons. If it comes from a news source, that makes it a little bit more stronger. But if the high volume is only coming from market opening hours, has a little bit less weight. Okay? So for example, the news, I'm not interested in seeing the week 1, only medium or high impact news. Okay, and I showed you that in week 1 on how to check it on Forex Factory or fxstreet.com. It depends which one you choose. I just like to check back and forth sometimes just to see in case there's one that's up and down or missed, just in case. Okay, but you can just choose one or use any apps out there. Okay, so whenever I see a high volume pop, I'm interested in seeing, was there a purpose behind it? So let's say I get up in the morning, this is prior to London, I get up in the morning and I'm like, okay, I do my morning rituals as discussed in the motivations and daily routines. I'm pumped up, I'm ready to go. I pull out my notebook and pen and I'm like, okay, we got a few hours till market opens, or an hour to Frankfurt open, let's say. And I want to look at my charts and understand, what am I doing here today? Okay, so the first thing I like to do is I like to go down my list, my entire list here. Okay, all 28 pairs. So I start with Aussie CAD, work my way down all the way down to USD Swiss franc. USD Japanese yen. So I work my way down from the top to the bottom, looking at different pairs and seeing, okay, was there any kind of congestion or break prior to London opening, which means most likely it's going to be from Asian market. Okay, so I'm looking at, in the Asian market, did a high volume pop happen because of something that was released in the Asian market? If it was just the market opening, I'm going to explain the why part now. If it's just the opening of the market where you have the high volume increase, then it could just be some Aussie traders in Australia just looking to move the market or looking to get in on a certain deal that they see. Okay, now however, if it's more economic numbers related, okay, it's news related, then by the time the people in London get into their office, they're also looking to take action on the news that came out in the Aussie market. And that's what we're looking out for. So that's why if we have a nice little dead volume kind of thing, pullback prior to London, and then as London is opening, you start to get your move, it means London traders are also trying to react to that same news that happened earlier in Asia. Okay, so there is this big misconception of traders of like, the news is at 9 o'clock, the news is at 9 o'clock. Oh my God, look what the news did at 9 o'clock. And then at 9:02, everyone forgets and says, I'm finished. It's over. No, it's not over. It's just beginning. It's just beginning. So let's, I hope you're having, an aha moment right now that you're not supposed to look at the news for the last minute stuff. We cannot compete for that. Okay? Unless you're a big tier 1 firm located close to New York Stock Exchange and any other stuff. It is only then with the technology, the resources, and the connections is where you can react to news events quickly. Otherwise, it doesn't matter how fast you can click. By the time you get a fill, and by the time you get a good fill, it's going to be a bad decision. Okay? So that's the life of a retail trader when it comes to trying to trade the news release, like on the spot. Okay? So just stay away from that. Just do yourself a favor. Don't forget the bottom line. What's the bottom line of all this? Is to generate some cash, right? So you want to do it as best as you can to protect your capital. Okay? All right. So the purpose, again, you want a news base. If it's only market open, what do we do? Okay? It's not so powerful. Okay? If it's coming with a news, yes, we like it. Another thing that we like to look out for is correlation. Okay? Correlation from the daily. Okay, I'm going to explain that in the next video. But for now, let's take a look at some of these things here. Okay? Have a high volume pop here. And let me see if I can pull this out for you. That's not a high volume pop of anything, actually. Let me find a range that pops. Okay. Let's see if there's any pop on this. It only increases in volume up here, around 1400 hours. Okay, so that seems like it's a market open. So let's just have a look at this. This is when? 22nd June, 22nd of June, basically. So let's open this up. Let me go into Forex Factory. Let's pop open 22nd of June. And let's see what they're saying about it. 22nd of June. Here we go. Oh, sorry. June. Last. I am not very good with this. Oh, here. Okay. 22nd of June. Okay. So let's just reconfirm of that area. This was 22nd of June around 12 or 1 o'clock. Okay, this is 12 or 1 o'clock Bangkok time. Let me just make sure this is on Bangkok time. Yep. Okay. 22nd of June around 12. Now notice there was nothing but an OPEC meeting that day. 4:15 a.m. there was pound news, and then 8:30 CAD news. So nothing that tells you this was triggered at 1 p.m., which is basically just a market open. There is no purpose behind it. Okay, so if there's no purpose behind it, by the time the pullback and everything happens and the markets are open for the next session or any sessions following that, well, you want to know, is anyone going to get behind it? Okay, so you need that purpose. It's very important. Okay, you need that purpose. Let's take a look at another example. Okay, let's go further back since we already have that chart open. And let's take a look at this volume, high increase in volume break. Okay, so the volume starts to increase around 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. So these 3 candles start to increase volume. Okay, now 1, 2, and 3, 1 p.m. obviously in Bangkok it is market opening hours as Frankfurt is getting ready to open. 2 p.m. London is already open. So it could be volume from opening hours, but let's have a look. This is now on 19th of June. Okay, let me open up 19th of June. Let me see if that works. Oh, sorry, 2 down. Okay, 19th of June. Here we go. Okay, so AM. There was nothing. There was nothing. There was no purpose behind it. Okay, there's 10:20 p.m. and then 4 p.m. and so Nothing around from 9:30 in the morning till 4:30. Nothing. There is no economic news in between. Okay? There was no economic news in between. So these are very, very important for you to know this, that, hey, there was no purpose for this. Now, can it still work? Yeah, it can still work, but it's not going to be your best trades. Okay, so as you're going into the US market, the US market's around here, starts pulling back, but look what happens. They're not getting behind that same movement. You see? That sell, they're not hitting it. Okay, so you want to make sure that you understand this idea of purpose. Okay, and if you do not have purpose behind you, be very careful when you're activating those trades. The chances of those trades working are gonna diminish. Okay, so the next video I'm going to be talking about correlation a little bit to tell you why it's important, and then the video after that I'm going to go into classification. Okay, this is a thing I've made up myself in the Forex Watchers thing. It's something I use strictly with my teammates. I'm always talking to them. What kind of trade are you looking at? What's the class? Okay, and based on what they tell me and what the class is of the trade, I automatically know if it's going to be a good one or not. Okay, and that's what I'm going to prepare you for. So let's get on to the next video and let's check into correlation.